Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to PSGL Season 35, round number 9 of the championship, as we head to another American track, which is the Miami Grand Prix, the home of the Miami Dolphins. Unfortunately, as you can tell, to my right-hand side, no James Head tonight. He's got a power cut. He's had a power cut for quite a long time, so unfortunately, he is missing tonight. He'll be back next week. Joining me in the commentary box, my name is Jess Ball, by the way, is someone who filled in for me for Las Vegas. He's quite common in filming in for the American tracks. It is our community manager, Byron. Byron, how are you doing?
Not too bad. I am very excited. I finally got my PC sorted, was just about to get ready for PSF3, got all the OBS sorted, and then I had a message saying, can you come and join me, because James hasn't got power. And I was like, absolutely sure. So I'm becoming a bit of a regular, but absolutely love it, because this is the best place to be. It's where everyone wants to compete, and it is this is the best of the best. We all want to be here, we all want to cast here, we all want to drive here. And I'm just so excited to be back. I mean, I didn't think I'd be back until a couple of years' time when I'm here on my own as a permanent caster. But yeah, delighted to be here.
Delighted that you filled in for the last minute. It was about 20 minutes notice as well that I gave Byron as well. So I know he does a good job anyway in the other tiers. So believe me, he's going to do great. But anyway, we've got some great action lining up for you this evening, and we've got the driver standings, and I'm also going to go through with you the stewards report from last week. We only got quite a few stewards reports to go through. Lag warning was received to OP Tim for heavy lagging during the race. Same with Stefano, and then Yossi got a 3-second time penalty removed because he got a penalty that was a bit unfair. So that moved him up a place. And what does that do with the standings? Well, I can tell you, Aurelian still leads the championship, 2 points over Marcados. Marcados took his first win of the season since a few seasons ago in Spain, which was great to see. Closely followed by Urpet in third place. Finally got some points last week. Cameron Dow's in fourth place. He got a fourth place. Fuller Congan scored some points last week as well. Kazizel, unfortunately, had a very poor race last week. He DNF, same with the likes of Benza. And then we've got the likes of Jerome in 10th spot. And then we've got Louis Valentin in 11th place on 21 points. But Marcados was the star of the show last week, Byron. He won his first victory in a while. Can we see him pick another one tonight?
I mean, anything's on the table for anyone here. I mean, Miami, it's a pretty difficult track. It's not an easy one, but it could definitely spring up quite a few surprises. I think we've got to keep an eye on, obviously, the top fight, but I think anyone's really in a hunt. I mean, I've raced with a few of these drivers back when I thought I was good enough. Stefano, he's one of the ones that I raced against all the way back on F1 2019, 2020,
wow,
and 2021. So, I raced with a few of these guys, but even though I did race with them, that was when they weren't quite as good as they are now. They've got a massive performance boost since back when I raced against them and occasionally beat them, and got to hold my own ego somewhere. But, anyone could do anything here. It's going to be really exciting to see. I'm really excited. We are obviously getting underway for qualifying very, very shortly. So I'm just really excited to see what these drivers do.
Yes, indeed. It is a new temporary circuit, the Miami International Autodrome, built around the Hard Rock Stadium. First Formula One race back in May 2022. We all know who won the last couple of races. It was 5.4 kilometres, average speed at around about 220 kilometers per hour. And we only raced one time in Miami. That was back in season 31, and that was when Rowan won that race. So not much PSGL stats to go with, but we will talk that in just later on as well. Louis Valentine has retired. I believe that is his qualifying ban that he's got to serve after missing last week. So he's not here as well. But strategy is going to be interesting, I think, for the drivers. We could see rain around it. We could see everything, not going to lie. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these drivers could do in a possible circuit that could see rain, but it could be unpredictable at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you do anywhere that this roller coaster that is Formula One goes is unpredictable. It doesn't matter what circuit it is, and you know, this race could certainly spring surprises. We could have weather effect. I mean, as we, you know, I got some pictures coming through of the start of qualifying as they're kind of all filtering out for those outlaps. It is a little overcast. It is, you know, a little on the grayer side. So the weather is certainly in the question. We saw at PCF1 last week, actually, funnily enough, that we did see rain affect the qualifying session, and it meant that drivers like Jake Benham, who went out and was just a bit too late, was knocked out of Q2, and it really hampered their race result in the end of it. So this is the sort of things that all of these drivers have to consider. If there's rain on the horizon, you've got to get out as quickly as possible and get the best of those conditions. So really going to be an exciting one, and I'm really looking forward to these first hot laps we're going to get very shortly.
Yeah, exactly. As we're going to ride on board with Yossi, who's going to be the first driver who is going to be setting a lap time in True Star. We became full-time last week, and now it's his first full-time debut race here this week as well. Done pretty decent in Spain until he got involved in some incidents. So we know what he's capable of around this circuit. So he's going to come towards the final few corners to start his lap around the Miami International Autodrome. So past the pit lane straight, a lot of understeer through here, 320 kilometers an hour before you reach turn 1, and he's using all of his battery heading towards there as well. Right-hander, and you slight lift off the throttle heading towards turn 2. Need to keep the car as balanced as you can through turn 3. A positive camber corner coming up through towards turn 4, which is a really hard braking zone coming up as well. These are very tight sequence of corners that these drivers have got to negotiate around as well. Heading towards another left-hander, then the next DRS straight as well. We've seen a lot of overtakes. We've seen Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly, I believe, collide there back in 2022. I think we've seen many instances back in PSGL as well, and in other leagues I've commentated on. So it has happened at PSGL. Now heading towards the middle of Sector 2. This is reminiscent of Vietnam as well. In 2020, of course, F1 did not race in Vietnam in real life, which I'm probably quite glad. Past the crest through turn 14 and 15. You're also looking a bit squirmy through heading towards the back straight, but it's the last DRS straight where you're literally going to be trying to gain the most power as you possibly can. He's going to be the first person on the lap. So he's going to be purple Sector 2 then. You've got to brake extremely early as you head towards the penultimate corner, because otherwise you're going to go into the runoff area. Let's see what Yossi could do there. Nope, he's fine through there. Crosses through the right-hand side to gain the best possible traction out of the corner. Heads towards the final corner. What can he do? And it's a 1:26.2 for the AlphaTauri, the first person to set a lap time. We've got a Williams driver up to the line as well, and we've got his teammate Cameron Dowes going up to the line soon as well, but he's heading towards Sector 3. But we've got Vola Concave across the line in second, and Marlon in third. We've got more drivers setting lap times, but 1:26.2 is the time to beat. No, scrap that. Yossi's teammate Cameron just pipped into the post.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good lap time there as well from teammate Cameron Dowds, because that is a very solid lap time in the 1:26 flat already. So we're getting very quick laps already. That's not a surprise. That is not a surprise to absolutely anyone. And if you've been keeping along with the action at PSF1, yeah, it's not a surprise in the slightest to you, most definitely. These drivers, though, very good indeed, as all in there up with a first lap time in the 1:50. Aurelian, there we go. This is the one issue I'm going to have. The pronunciations, they are going to be all over the place. But some of these drivers I do know, so those ones will be easy. But Aurelian there already into the 1:25s with a 9:76. So really good lap times, really promising lap times for a lot of these drivers as well. is I continue to clock more and more drivers that I know, and it's becoming really scary to me, realizing that I once raced against these guys. But I mean, all of these drivers, they've got really good potential. As Ryan now comes through sector number 2 and into sector 3, and that is not a lap time they're actually setting. And it seems that everyone's really gone for their first flying laps as Mobarak there returns. I'm not sure if there's a qualifying ban there. I don't think so. So that's a bit of an interesting one.
I think that might have been from a couple of races ago or something. I'm not entirely sure, but or he might have just chosen to start at the back for fun. Mobarak is a pad goat, not gonna lie. He's one of the pad goats of PSGL. Being one of the only drivers to race on a pad in this tier as well. And bearing in mind, of course, this tier is no assists, as is all the tiers on a Monday night. So if you run no assists on the pad, then I respect you. I don't know how you do it, to be honest with you, as Ryan heads into the pit lane. Keke, 31-0 in the middle sector. A few people struggling a bit on the crest, so they got to find their feet a little bit. But KK is managing it quite well as he heads towards the back straight. I thought the Aston Martin was going to get a toe there. I think Keke might have backed off. Yes, Keke has backed off his run. So that is everyone's lap times done then for the session. And it's already our championship leader out there on top in P1 and Cameron Dow's in P2. Aurelian still yet to pick up a win in this championship, but he's keeping up against consistent form like he's been showing all season long. He's another driver who I feel like just missed out last week, but he was really happy with his performance in Spain. Maybe someday he could pick up a race win in PSF1, but studies have shown in the leagues I've commentated on, necessarily you don't have to win a race in order to win a championship, because I saw Xander Van Dyken did it in one of the tiers I commentated on in PSF2 back in the day, which was season 29, I think it was, which was a long time ago. So, yeah, Rennie doesn't have to win a race to win the championship, but it will get him on the right foot if he does.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you're already leading the championship at this stage. I mean, Aurelian, definitely, you know, it's nice to win a race, but it's not a necessity. You don't have to win a race to really have a good season. I mean, you look at a team in real life Formula 1 like McLaren, you know, they didn't win a race, but they still had an amazing season because they got lots of podiums and they got a good result out of it. It was a tough start to the season, and a lot of the drivers here have probably had a similar tough start to the season. I mean, looking at our second place driver in the championship, Markados, funnily enough, his start to the season was very poor. 4th, 7th, 4th, and 2 DNFs, and that was the first 6 races of the season. That's it's not a great start to the season, but it's not a bad start either. But looking at those last few races, 4th, 2nd, and then 1st. That win coming in that last race, 2 points off of Aurelian for the championship lead. It shows that the change in form across the season, it's quite high, and it really does show that although you don't need a win, it's very useful. It does benefit you a lot, so that's definitely what I think Aurelian's looking for tonight.
Yeah, and of course we've got certain drivers that may not have got the win yet, may have had the form at the start of the season, but they're starting to get a bit weaker towards the middle half of the season, and we only have 3 more rounds to go. Of course, we've got Miami this week, we've got Silverstone next week, which unfortunately I'm going to be missing because I've got to travel to a work conference as well. That is the joys of me being asked to going to the office more and attend more things. I have to do more things work related. So, but hopefully the championship does not get decided in Silverstone, so we can have a championship finale in Bahrain. But I'm trying to remember, when was the last championship finale in PSGL in Bahrain? It probably was PCF1, I believe, which I think was between Barry Bormand and Thomas Ronhaar. Was it Barry Bormand and... No, it was Barry Bormand and Thomas Ronhaar that was on course for the title that season. Barry Bormand won that one, I believe. If I'm not too mistaken, if someone can correct me on that, that would be amazing. So, championship deciders have happened here at PSGL, and we could see it this season in these guys as well. We've got Ryan, who's on a lap time right now. He's leaving it very, very early compared to everybody else, but he wants a clear track ahead of him. Only driver, as well as Keke, to set a lap time. A lot of pressure for him going into the last, the second half of this session with 8 minutes to go.
Absolutely, but I mean, Ryan, funnily enough, he's one of the drivers that I've realised I've raced against. And if anyone soaks up pressure, it is him. He soaks it up like a sponge. I raced against him in the top tier of a league that I actually, at one point, actually owned. And he was blistering, he was fast, and anything could happen, and it would not faze him. I mean, it's no surprise that he's ended up in PCF1 because I know him well enough to know that he has always had that pace. And all of these drivers have amazing pace. And I think, you know, I think he's probably getting the best of the track now because he knows, right, I've got a clean track. You know, I've got enough time that I could go do this lap, come back in, get a fresh set of tyres, and I can blitz it for that final run. It's a very well-timed situation for Ryan. He's not getting any traffic on this lap. He's got the perfect opportunity to blitz it on the next lap as well. Up to the line now for Ryan. And what will he do? Up to 8th, so that's a very respectable lap, actually. A very nice improvement. Obviously, didn't have a lap time up to that point. And a 1:26.358, it's certainly something to build on. It's certainly something to really try and improve on. I mean, when you look at the top time, you know, we still got that time for Aurelian there, the only driver in the 1:15s. I think we're going to get quite a few more drivers join that probably in the next couple minutes or so, I would have thought. Certainly, I think Cameron Dowds will definitely be trying to get into the 1:25 is the yellow flag there in sector 2. I believe that's just someone getting out of the way. But, I mean, we've got a long way to go. So certainly anything can happen. And I think there's still definitely a fight for pole.
Cameron's just ran out of deployment in the final sector, and he goes top with a 1:25.8, so he's beaten his previous time by quite some margin, and he's a 10th quicker than Aurelian as well. Cameron Dow's the only driver this season to pick up 2 victories this season, 2 wins in a row in Monza and in Singapore. And he's doing ever so good. As Stefano comes across the line into P3, a respectable lap time from him. Ryder Dow just comes across the line into P3. We've got one of the Mercedes up to the line. No, but it's not. It's Tom who goes into the pits. Tom was very unlucky last week, did not score any points, and he did not, I think, even make a lap. So he's got a lot of work to do in order to find his feet in the championship too. Wiener, unfortunately, invalidated his run, and I think he's going to go into the pits very, very shortly. What about Cazizzo? He is unfortunately invalidated, so he has died it in. It's a common factor, I think, in these next few stages that a lot of people did not get their laps in at this stage, but it is not that long until the end of qualifying. I want the chat to let us know in the commentary box, who do you think is going to get pole position today? I can't call it at the moment, but if I'm looking at what James said in the chat, I think I'm going to have my money's on Aurelian for pole position. What do you think, Byron?
I mean, when you look at the lap time that's just been set from Cameron Dowds, that's surely going to send a bit of fear across this paddock. I mean, like, that's a blistering lap time. The only driver, obviously, in the 1:25.8. I mean, it was really a question of who would be the next to join. Obviously, now Stefano has also joined them in the 1:25s as well. Very slim margins between Aurelian, and Stefano. So very close between those two. But Cameron Dowds, I think, has certainly put a stamp on a provisional pole position. And this really opens a massive door for Cameron in terms of, I am on provisional pole position. I can now blitz this final run. I can put on a new set of tyres, go out, and I don't have to worry about if I've got a lap time that's good enough and being conservative, because you can just absolutely throw it balls to the walls, drive the car as fast as you want, throw it into the corners. You can really go aggressive with it, and that is exactly what Cameron is opened himself up to. It's a brilliant lap time, and it really has opened up a amazing opportunity for Cameron Dowds to take pole position here.
He's currently seated 4th in the championship, and he's only 11 points shy of P1. So if the likes of Aurelian and Marcados and Erpek have a really poor showing in this week's race, then maybe Cameron could climb himself back up into championship contention. And he's only just 14 years of age, and I don't know what I was doing at 14 years of age, but it wasn't this. It wasn't commentary, and it definitely wasn't racing with these guys, that's for sure, in a big talent stage here at the moment. So Cameron Dowds, he's got a nice thing to live up to against other guys as well. obviously Otis Lawrence, he was young when he started in the big stage as well. Alfie Butcher as well, who is now in F1 sim racing now and has done a great job there. Many young guns have gone on to do great things in league racing. And of course, Jana Otmir, a multiple PSGL champion on both the PC and the PS side as well. And it shows you can go on to big and great things. 2 minutes left to go of the session. I'm going to go and get my phone up because it's got the poll up on who you think is going to get pole position. You see, whenever we talk about predictions, someone puts a poll up. You see, we all...
It's just me. I'm just that good. I just decided I'd
it's your job at the end of the day, Byron.
Yeah, to be fair, but I am, making sure that we get these sort of interactions up. But we are getting to the final stages of this qualifying session as Connor asked, who's this new commentator?
I don't know.
He knows exactly who it is. He knows exactly who it is. To which I just decided to drop him a DM about that because that was hurt my feelings a little bit. Hurt my feelings, but here we are.
Someone who bottled it in qualifying in the Commentators' Cup.
Spun it in the pit lane. Yeah, and here we are. Top tier, and you've got the one guy who bottled it the most. But we move, and we choose to ignore these facts because it will make me cry, and I will be in a corner for the next 7 hours. But the final laps are getting underway. Volokongan is going to be the first driver to start these final flying laps, as we do get an illegal blocking penalty.
So and restart.
It does mean a restart. Woo! We love this game, and it's illegal blocking penalties. And we get another one. Woo!
Yeah.
And it is Volokongan, though, who won't get a penalty so far and is leading us around on these final flying laps. Volokongan is a known quantity, races in other leagues as well, and I have seen the pace and potential of him, and it's certainly a question of where is the pace in this session. I think a lot of drivers asking that, and Volokongan there, nearly 2 temps up, so that is where the pace was. It was in Sector 1, because that's a brilliant first sector, and would already take him all the way up to about
P5.
If this lap time was to start. Oh, P5, okay. Even I was playing conservative there, but a brilliant Sector 1 time there. Can he hold this through? This is a blistering lap time so far in this session. Can he hold it through Sector number 2? Very nice through there. That corner, very tricky. You want to ride over that curve as much as possible, but be very careful and wear it at the same time. Still about 2 steps up, so still a very good and very respectable lap time. Everyone's sorting themselves out and filtering out, and it doesn't look like Volokongan is going to get traffic in this final corner, which is working perfectly to what he would have wanted. But now around the final bend and up to the line, really stamping your foot on the throttle here. You can, though. This grip is very, well, this track is very grippy. It's very nice. And up to the line, it's 3 temps improvement. It's up to 5th. What a lap time there from Volokongan. Tom there up to 6th. Raced against him back in the day on F1 2020. And he is absolutely blitzing fast. It gave me plenty of setups, and it made me just about quick enough to compete. Not with him, though. Maybe the back of the field, if anything. But Stefano, wow, what a lap time there. Brilliant there for a 1:25.756. Brilliant. And it doesn't look like Cameron Dowd's improving. He's not improving at all on this final lap. And Aurelian isn't either. So this is a real question, because it doesn't. Yeah, there we go. Cameron Dowd's into the pit lane. So no improvement from there. Aurelian doesn't look to be improving either. So it looks like, if things are as they stand, it is going to be Tim on pole position from, well, really not.
Marcados is not improving either. Yeah. I think he's ran out of fuel to the line, but he slots himself down into 7th, because I think Rena goes 5th fastest. I think we got his teammate Kazizel, who's going to go up to the line. Well, he is going to go up to the line, but it's an invalidation for him. Ryder Dow, who's 3 temps up, that would put him around about the top 10 range at the moment. So he goes up to the line. A few more drivers coming off the line in P10. Aurelian's the only man that could do it. Nope, he goes into the pit lane. Gil in P4, by the way. A very good lap time from the GLE driver. And Volokongan, I believe, has bat out. So a driver that I was not expecting to get pole has got pole position in PSF1, and 18 of you have voted. No one voted for Tim because it wasn't in the poll. I don't think any of us considered Tim to be on pole position. Again, an unknown quantity. He's right down near the bottom of the championship. Of course, he's in the Alpine, and obviously he only became joining the lead back again, I think, back in Singapore. So I wonder, is this... we always like to see surprises in PSGL. We could see a surprise here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, absolutely blistering times so far across the board. And someone said in the chat that the pole time in F3 is faster. And I'm just having to check this because I'm so confused if that's the case. The track conditions here must not have been ideal because apparently, genuinely, the pole position time in F3 was much faster. So I'm just having a look.
I will go through the results whilst you do that, as Tim is fastest by 49 hundredths. We've got Cameron Dalza, Renan, GL Gill, Stefano Wiener, Jerome, Marlon, Marcados, Ryder Dow, Volakongan, your top 11. And we got Tom, Stefano, Kazil, Yossi, Ryan, Pet, your top 17, separating by less than 7/10 a second. And 3 people did not set lap times. But before we head to the main action and us rambling on a little bit more, let's have a quick word from our title sponsor, shall we? GT Omega. So, what a qualifying for Tim. A driver that we weren't expecting to be up there is on pole position for today's Miami Grand Prix. The third to last round of the championship. We got myself and Byron that's going to be taking you through the action. And we got the 9th round of Demolition Derby as they're about to get a lobby restart. But yes, our championship leader, of course, starting in third, pretty much higher than most of his rivals. Most of the drivers did not improve on their lap times as well, and I can confirm that the F3 pole time was faster, so it might mean that the drivers weren't as comfortable about the track, or maybe the conditions were a bit cooler than F3, but not nicely done from Tim. Maybe the conditions suit him a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very interesting. You know, you can say that another tier's whole time was faster, but you've got to think that the drivers within it, you know, there's limited options to move within a season. Rens Thomason, who is in PSF3, I because that's where I cast, funnily enough, you know, I know how much of a proven quantity he is, and it's interesting, you know, like to see this kind of difference between these drivers are still incredibly fast, but you know, the improvement from a driver like Luke Thomason in PSF3, you know, it really shows that the performance of a driver can change so much across the season. You think 12 rounds, 12 races, 12 weekends, that's not that long. But when you think about the amount that a Formula One team changes across the season, you know, McLaren, you know, Aston Martin, they had huge swings in form across the season. Think of that as how the performance of league racing happens. One week you might be blitzing it, you might be so fast, but then the next week everyone else has unlocked a 10th of a second and you are losing. And, you know, this is how close it is. This is how fine margins it is. The track conditions will affect it. And, yeah, it's very, very interesting. But I think we've got a great race ahead of us. I think all of these drivers, you know, they've really put a good foot down in qualifying. Some more than others. You know, those with qualifying bans, they might have been looking at that. They'll probably be trying to understand where their opportunities are to gain. Where are they going to make those crucial overtakes? Where are they going to make the difference? Because you have to make the difference, you know, in a race, especially if you're starting at the back. It's never easy. It never will be, you know, but you've got to just deal with the cards you're dealt and try and get the best result out of it.
Yeah, and we have seen people in Miami in the lower tiers on the PC side come from lower down from the grid to finish well. So it's not over for people that are starting from the back. The track evolution was not as quick as we would expected. We saw in places like Spain where we see people improving a lot to get near the faster lap times, and who knows? We could see drivers maybe struggling a bit potentially on terms of tyre wear, which could be a big factor in terms of managing their race pace there. So a lot to consider on that front. Markadors, I think, is someone to watch out for in terms of climbing his way up through the field. Of course, he's got a few podiums to his name now. Of course, he got the win last week. Of course, he didn't get the pole that he would have wanted here, but usually sometimes getting the podiums and wins that you need could help you with that momentum into the final few rounds. Because don't forget, he's a point shy of Aurelian in the championship, which, going into the last 3 rounds, it's great to see this championship that close. Another close championship. We had a close championship last season as well. This season as well, we've got it down to, I think, 1 point. P3, I believe, is 5 points behind the leader as well. Literally 4 drivers could win it at this point, and it is anyone's game. And luckily, the drivers have been very good lads as they are about to get started with the lobby, and now we're very, very quick in getting the grid set up. So, well done, guys. We're about to get some PSGL action going once again.
Absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what we're all here for. We all want this race, and we all want to see what happens here because it's anyone's game, really. There's a lot that could happen, and you know, we've now got a lot of drivers about to take to a track that it's a little more unknown. You know, you've not had as many years of racing around this track. A track like Bahrain, which obviously came back in all the way in 2014, or tracks that have been an absolute staple hold of the championship all the way back as far as 1950. You know, tracks like Monaco, tracks like Silverstone, although they've had their changes, they're still very much the same circuit. And in the F1 game, the time you spend on a circuit does correlate to how comfortable you are driving it. Sure, it might change a little bit. Sure, the asphalt might change. Sure, the grip will change and the cars will change. But your knowledge of that track stays the same. And that's why a lot of drivers will be less comfortable around here, but more comfortable around tracks like Bahrain because they've driven it for so many more years. And this is what they all need to kind of think about and consider. There's a lot to go, you know, and a lot to think about and a lot to look at today, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. So get your thoughts in the chat on who you think is going to be winning this race. And as you can see in the pit lane, it is quite sunny at the moment. A few clouds, but nothing too threatening right now. And a final plug before we start the race for our title sponsor, GT Omega. 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. Or you could use a link in the description. Or you could use the command !GT Omega in the chat as well. They're having a January sale right now, so make sure you check their products. I believe they were there at the Autosport show as well on Saturday, which I'm gutted I couldn't go to, but I'm sure a lot of you saw the sims that were going on there as well, and they've got plenty of events happening throughout the year too. Where they are just about to get their setups and strategies going. Ryan has been given, Ryan gives them a time of when they can ready up, of course, so it gives them time to do that, and then once that time has passed, we could then get started. I'm gonna put you on the spot again, Byron. Who do you think is gonna win this one?
Oh, don't give me that. I've not had enough time to try and absorb qualifying, let alone to even think about this race. I mean, I just thinking about that pole time from Tim, it's kind of got me thinking that maybe it's a bit of an underdog call, but maybe it is going to be Tim who takes the victory because it's always difficult, you know, to step in, you know, and to prove yourself. But I think with that lap timing in qualifying, you've really got to go with that pace setter. You know, it's like Max Verstappen taking pole position at a race. You know, a proven quantity is, you know, likely to win the race. You want a bit of excitement. You want it to change, and I think it definitely will. You know, the drivers behind, I'm thinking, you know, your likes of, you know, your Cameron Dowds, your Aurelian, you know, they're likely to be putting on the pressure and really piling on, but a lot could happen tonight. I think we've really got a strong race, and I think we're very, very nearly about to head to the 5 red lights. Fortunately, OBS isn't giving me any latency or much, and here we are. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, And it is lights out and away we go here in Miami. And it is a pretty poor start for Tim, but it is an even poorer start for Cameron Downs there as we head down into turn number 1. Behind there, you've got Wiener there, I believe. I don't know how to pronounce that name there. Moving a place up there ahead of Marlon. A few drivers losing places already. Stefano there down to the back after a spin. So a torrid time there for Stefano. I've raced against him and he did have a tendency for bad luck. So that reputation has continued here at PSGL and just in racing in general. But Tim leads us away for this opening lap here in Miami, and what a opening lap it could be, and what a race this could be. Anything can happen, and we've got 29 laps to decide and find out. A lot of drivers opting for the hard compound tyres, and that is to be expected, but some drivers are choosing for the softer compound tyres, and that could spring a few surprises. In fact, the only driver on a different tyres was the one driver who I happened to clock, which was Markados. So the only driver on a set of tyres that isn't the hards. But Tim leads us away for this first lap and continues to do so. But this long back straight provides plenty of overtaking opportunities for drivers behind, and we likely will see plenty as Markados there goes down the inside of Wiener there into the final braking zone of this track and up into 5th place. But a good opening lap and a very clean one at that, and drivers still very close to one another.
Yeah, they are as well. Hard to softs and soft to hards. The most unlikely out the strategies between the three that we were doing our research on. Hards to me has been the most likely of the strategies. As we've got yellow flag, Stefano's out the race. He's retired from the pit lane, so the damage he had got earlier on in the race had probably hindered him a little bit, and that is his race over. So Hards is a more durable tyre around Miami, and they want to potentially be on the mediums towards the end because it has the most grip and it's more durable compared to the soft. It'll be around about lap 16 prediction that we could see drivers come in to a set of the mediums. No one's opting for a set of the medium tyres to start the race, so we ignored that one. And soft, I would say around about, well, I'm just trying to remember how long these tyres last, because it's on Yossi going side by side, heading towards into the next left-hander as he's trying to go around the outside. Is the AlphaTauri driver, because it all cuts him off a little bit through the crest, heading towards 12, 13 and 14, and he almost hit the Haas driver as well, which was not good at all as they head towards the back straight. DRS is activated in lap 3, but we already got 2 big DRS trains going on. If these guys keep squabbling, they're going to lose out on DRS out of everybody. Yossi to the inside. We got in boxing with the likes of OP, Stefano and Ryderdow. Volakongan trying to go for him on the inside of Wiener, and Marlon has got him too. So Volakongan up into 6th spot at the moment. Markados in the fastest lap of the race. He's 1 spot away of the podium, and his pace is looking very strong right now. But the top 2 are definitely working together, and it seems still side by side goes Wiener and Jeroen towards turn 2 and 3. Jeroen, beautiful stuff, and he's up into 9th. Don't forget, top 10 score points, and Jeroen is definitely doing that. So at the moment, likely strategy is going to be hards to mediums.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very much the expected strategy, a very audacious strategy from Markados to start on the soft, but does give you the advantage earlier on in this racing. As you did point out, some drivers behind were really scrabbling and losing a lot of time to those in front. But it seems they've sorted themselves out ever so slightly, and they're not losing much time, but all these drivers are kind of scrapping and squabbling a little bit in the minute, and it's meaning they're all losing a lot of time to each other. So the first driver that really nails down and just decides to dart it is probably going to be the driver that really gains out of this, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. And don't forget, this is the long game. They're not going to be burning too much ERS at this stage unless you're going to be chasing them down. As Wiener gets past Marlon, but we've got a battle potentially for the lead as Tim and Cameron Dowds are fighting towards the penultimate corner. Cameron Dowds to the left, just part the pit lane entry as well. Already might have a spice of the pudding as well, as Tim to the inside once more gets a switchback and he takes the lead. Great fighting between the two of them. Tim leads this race once again. Cameron Dowds unfortunately couldn't get the move right, and he stayed in 2nd second place, but he's got a lot of work to do. He's got a long race ahead of him, so he could just be the patient man that I know he is and he's capable of doing in P2 at the moment. But Aurelian just decided to play a bit of a backseat role in this. He doesn't want to get squabbled too much, so like to Markelos and Gil could try and get past potentially 2 in these next couple of laps. Now, this is a straight where we could see some overtakes. Aurelian's going to try and do so. Same with Cameron Dowles. Cameron Dowles going to think about going to the left, and Aurelian tactically follows Cameron Dowles through, and Tim had no answer to that. Cameron Dowles leads this race, and Aurelian in P2. This is not where Tim wants to be right now, so it just goes to show how great the pace Cameron Dowles and Aurelian is showing on those hard compounded tyres. Markelos will be next, and I won't be surprised if he gets past Tim too on this back straight.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing you've got to think about is who's got the most to lose in this scenario, or who's got the most to win. These 4 drivers that are kind of fighting at the top, you know, you think about Cameron Dowles in the championship fight, or Aurelian in the championship fight, Markedos very fast and, you know, kind of getting towards, you know, the higher places in the championship, in the championship fight as well, sorry. Tim has nothing to lose here. Tim really can just blitz it, go for the ballsy moves, because they're so far down in the championship that these points, you know, they mean a lot. So you're going to push a bit more. It's a bit like when Williams back all the way in 2021, really, you know, they went for a really audacious upgrade. They went for a really audacious strategy in Hungary, and it paid off. They got massive amounts of points, and it worked for them. Tim has nothing to lose, and I think he's really the one to watch, because the drivers in front, they've got a lot to think about. They're in the hunt for the championship. One mistake, they've lost it.
Yeah, and it is crucial that they get it right early on as well. So, look at this. Markelos trying to go for a dive bomb on the inside, but Aurelian has said, no, thank you very much. He is now the driver to get past Cameron Dowles. Is it racing or is it ping pong? They keep switching positions left, right and centre. This is generally very clean racing, which I'm quite surprised about. Generally, the standards this season, apart from Las Vegas, have been generally very good from the drivers. Last season, I know we had to, I think, warn the drivers so many times about their driving standards, so I guess they got the memo on that one. Jill gets past Tim up into 4th place, so Tim, our pole man, his race pace is not showing, so maybe the tyre pressure that he set during qualifying only worked for qualifying and not the race. I think his stint, the start of the stint, he's very strong, but as he gets to this point, that is where he struggles. But everybody else trying to not push too much at the start and then balance it throughout the race, and that's what Tim has got to think about. Oh, there's a yellow flag. That's Marlon that's gone off. I wonder if he's made contact with anyone. Jeroen, I think, had a bit of a moment as well. Maburt, by the way, is up into 12th place. We haven't really talked about who has gained the most positions out of everybody in this situation, but Erpek, who's currently sitting in 3rd in the championship, he's all the way down in 14th, and he's getting involved in battles which really he shouldn't be getting involved with, and he's getting boxed in his left-hander, and he's being pushed by that Aston Martin of Ryan. That is not good for his championship hopes. He's going to lose out so many points like to Moraine and Cameron Dowles, so he just got to make the moves done as quickly as he possibly can. Maybe he should have started on a softer tyre like Markedos in order to climb his way through. To the left-hand side he goes, and I think he's got this one covered. Oh, this is very dodgy racing from the back, and I think Louis and Ryderdow have made contact in the background, and we've got a VSC, Baron.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise there. A couple of drivers off into the wall and didn't really move very quickly, so no surprise we get a virtual safety car there, but a little bit scrappy. It's quite ironic you were just talking about the driving standards being relatively high as all hell and manner breaks loose as drivers. Yeah, commentators curse coming in once again, but I think I'm wondering what Markedos would do. Markedos is in. I expected this. I really thought the gamble on soft tires, it was an interesting one, but I didn't see it working. I think it was kind of a bit of goal hanging for a possible safety car, virtual safety car, cheaper pit stop, and absolutely the first sign of a virtual safety car straight into the pit lane. It's probably hard tires. You know, like it, you know, and it is hard tires as expected because you can take those a very long way. You might even have to sit them to the end of the race. I'm not actually fully sure. I think you can take them to the end of the race. I'm literally just like to have
21 laps.
21
yes, you
laps. Could probably just about get them to the end of the race. If you are really pushing it, I mean, you've got these few laps, you know, well, you've got to save a bit, but you might be able to, and it might be a gamble that some drivers do, but obviously quite a few drivers into the pit lane for those medium tyres. And it's just really seeing about how this race is going to pan out. I think a few drivers have lost out. Yeah, mediums. It's a bit of an interesting one.
That is early for the likes of Mubarak, Keke, because maybe, I think this is what they're doing now. I think there's going to be a safety car, and they're going to do a two-stop strategy. They all started on the hards. They're going to hope another safety car comes along, because otherwise their strategy can be screwed. The mediums here won't get to the end of the race. They won't. Unless they pit around about from lap 16 onwards, the mediums could get to the end quite comfortably. So I think they're going to wait potentially until then, see if they can climb their way through the rest, and just look at the gap between Yossi and Markados. It's about 2 seconds, and then after that it's about 5 seconds as well. So the gap is a bit closer than you might think. So if the medium runners get a move on, then that strategy could work different. I've seen it in Austria. I think at one point when there was an early safety car and they start on the hards and did 2 medium stints. That means that they were on the more durable and preferable rubber for the entirety of the race too. So I can see why they've done it. For people like Yossi and Mubarak, it's a good move. But the ones near the back, they're going to struggle because they lost so much time for the front wing changes as well. But obviously the top two, they had nothing to lose, so they stayed out. Gil is right on the back of this as well. He can take advantage of this as he sees fit. As he goes to the left, does he think about it? No, the both of them shut the door quite nicely, and Gil stays in 3rd place. But he has won it before. He has won in PSGL before in season 26 when he won his title as well. And of course, remember, it wasn't Rowan who won Miami. It was someone else. It was Santeri who won in Miami in season 31. So my bad. I got that wrong. As Gil tries to go for a move, Byron.
Absolutely. And looking further back as well, I did notice that Markados, who obviously pitted earlier in the race, is up to 11th, overtaking Louis Valentine. So showing that the newer hard cars are working, and Wiener there going side by side with Volokongan, very close, nearly touching tyres there. Brilliant racecraft from the two of them as they both keep very clean. That could have got nasty very, very easily. That could have been very, very messy, and one of those drivers could have definitely ended up hitting a wall there because of the way they were going side by side. But very good driving standards from the two of them. They clearly have raced before because they very much kept to themselves and knew where the other one was going to place their car. But we get new fastest laps as expected. Sauber there with another one as Keke takes the fastest lap there. But obviously on those newer medium tyres, I'm surprised that the lap time on the softs hasn't held up all too well. But maybe that just shows the gap, the differential as those laps go on, and we get that fight for the lead as well. Gil is really closing in on this battle as well. Jeez, this could be anyone's game for the top 3 here. But you've got to think about those drivers behind. You're going to be really conscious of Markados and those medium runners because they are catching fairly quickly. So we might see quite a lot of action to come in this race.
Yeah, and it's definitely not over. And don't forget, most people near the back will need to do another stop again as Cameron Dowles pulls to the right-hand side, there left as well, and a bit of smoke in the background, which is the tyres heating itself as Cameron Dow leads, as well as Gil and Aurelian going side by side towards turn number 1. Gil tries to get a switch back from Aurelian. Aurelian probably was not expecting that, but Aurelian covers them off nicely. Cameron Dowles leads, Aurelian in 2nd, Gil in 3rd. Tim is back in, it's into 4th place, but again he's under pressure from Rena as the sun is getting ever so hard for the drivers to see right now as we've got Mubarak getting past Louis up into 13th spot. The pad go is doing pad things and trying to make his way into the top 10, and he's loving life. And don't forget he started at the back and he's trying to make his way from the back to near the front. Biggest gainers so far, well, we can't go through that until everyone has done their pit stop as Aurelian once more tries to go for the move. Will Gil do exactly the same? A bit of contact made from both of the drivers, but very respectful race between the two of them as well. And it is a very tight corner with a lot of understeer, so you need a lot more downforce to negotiate this corner. Now heading towards the crest once again between these three drivers. If I was Aurelian, I'll be looking at the mirrors of Cameron Dowles now, and maybe even Gil as well. But let's watch Cameron Dowles, as Cameron Dowles has lost touch from Aurelian. It's Gil that he wants to worry about. As he heads towards his back straight, Tom gets past his teammate Bolakongan, but it's this battle we want to watch out for as we head towards the final corner. Cameron Dowles just about to say the head on. Gil's made a mistake. Gil's made a mistake. It's allowing Tim to be like, you know what, I could capitalise on this as they head towards the start-finish straight. Lap 11 out of 29. Is Tim going to go the London up and over? Maybe he does not. He stayed in 4th place, but he could have definitely took advantage of that.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at this right now, there's a lot of different ways this race can go. I'm looking at the gap to the leader of this race to really try and understand how much pace are these fresher tyre runners getting. And the answer is a lot of extra pace, because Markados is within 13 seconds of Aurelian for the lead of the race. So if Aurelian was to pit right at this moment in time, a loss of 19 seconds means that that's a 6-second gap lost across this thing. And given Markados wasn't, was in the fight for the lead, that's a massive amount gained. Even if Markados has to pit again and chooses to pit again in order to eliminate, and go for that 2-stop, there's still that differential in terms of if they pit at the same time, you've still gained a heap of time through, having that extra pit stop because of that cheaper pit stop, as we get a battle nearly 3 wide for the lead. But Cameron Dowles down the inside there. Can he hold it, or will Aurelian get the exit? And Aurelian there, a beautiful exit using a bit of overtake for good measure. They run side by side down into turn number 1, and that is Aurelian defending the position beautifully in the Red Bull car, and very well held. And that is exactly what you want to do if you're leading a race. There's going to be pressure down that straight, but you know exactly how to counter it, and that was beautifully done there.
Apologies that you didn't see much of it. My monitor decided to die, so I didn't see much. I couldn't go on board with the cameras, but that was because it timed out every so often. As Erb picks out of the race, so one of our championship contenders is out of it for the moment, so he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to stay in the championship fight later on too. Markados is within 1.2 seconds of Ryan, but let's watch Cameron Dowles as he makes a move towards past Aurelian once again. Nope, he's not going to go for it just yet, so apologies if you didn't see much of it. They were going for the move towards turn 1, we caught that, but yeah, I was wondering why. I thought it was my OBS crashing, but luckily OBS has not crashed yet, touch wood. But we got some things going on in the chat. James making a dodgeball reference. Markados on soft. Let's a bold strategy, Con. Let's see if it pays off for him. Well, at the moment it looks like it is. Can he get to the end? Well, remains to be seen. As Cameron down to the inside, maybe. Aurelian is doing a good job to hold him off, but we saw on the last lap how Cameron and Aurelian were able to go for it in towards turn number 1 as well. Cameron Dowles has got the ERS to use as well, but I don't think he's going to use it in towards turn number 1. He's going to play it safe, which I think at this stage is quite crucial, because it's not going to be that long before these drivers come into the pits. Around about lap 16 is our predicted pit stop time for them to go onto the medium tyres. Will we see people do the opposite of Markados? Will we see people go onto the soft tyres?
Possibly, I think maybe. I mean, you have to run probably until about lap, 19, lap 20, but the pace you'll gain from being on those soft compounded tyres, there is a big advantage to be had. It's just about if you're able to get to that point in the race without losing too much time. Because if you're losing heaps of time to the cars behind, it's not going to work out for you. You need to hold a good pace on the hard tyres to then be able to unleash your true pace on those soft tyres and really, really get a massive amount of performance and a really good end to your race. But medium is definitely that safe option. It's the safe bet. It's the one you want to be on. It's the tyre you're going to want to try and strive for. But I think we'll see a few drivers gamble on those softs.
Yeah, I think we will potentially, as I think we've got one of the McLarens almost trying to go for the move there in towards the penultimate corner, but he's deciding to think better of it. I think we could see people going for undercuts here. I think we could see, I think a few people want to go into the pits right now, but I don't think anyone is going to do that, which disproves my theory completely, but I won't be surprised if people near the back potentially could do it. We do see one of them, but it's not someone that you might think. It is Ryan that comes in onto a set of mediums. They can do it, but it's going to be cutting it fine to make sure it gets to the end. So Ryan definitely playing the big gamble train, and those medium tyres going earlier than everybody else, but he's going to be the guinea pig to see how long these mediums can last from this point. So he's the first one to come in. So now he has proven my theory right, that we will have at least someone coming. Usually, Byron, it's full of Kongan or someone, or Markados that comes in early, but obviously Markados came in already because he started on the Socon man of tyres. But no, it is Ryan this week.
Yeah, well, someone's got to be that guinea pig. Someone's got to take that first gamble. Otherwise, I think they'd all trundle around the circuit until the end of the race. If they've really got the option to. I mean, why not? Runners, a lot of these drivers, they'll want to run as long as they can if their pace is good. And someone's got to gamble and see, is it worth it? You know, is it worth pitting earlier, or is it worth staying out? But no one wants to take that gamble. You always want someone else to do. You always want someone else to be that guinea pig, because it means you have less to lose as we get another battle for the lead as Aurelian loses 2 places there into the final corner. But this has left Cameron Dowds, I believe, a little susceptible and a little vulnerable to Gil behind, because now
Aurelian's
DRS
back on him.
Yeah, both drivers very close to the back of Cameron Dowds into turn 1, though. Nothing worth doing on this particular occasion for either of them. But Aurelian there, having lost 2 places, maybe a bit of blood in the eyes of the bull, potentially. Really trying to get down and get these moves done and get back up into first place. Because Aurelian really hasn't looked out of place in P1 here in this race. And it's very ambitious. You know, James Head did say himself, I think Aurelian's got it this week, and lo and behold, Aurelian has been one of the star drivers so far in this race, and now tries to think about going side by side with Gil, but not into this particular corner. But can an overtake be done there on Cameron Dowds? It's an audacious dive, but one that certainly has panned out so far, as Cameron Dowds can't hold it around the outside through this sweeping right-hander. And now as we head into this tricky chicane, and it's very much worked in Gil's favour, but not for much longer, because let's face it, Cameron Dowds is going to get the overtake down this straight because you're close, and because of this long DRS straight that allows you to gain so much more pace.
Yeah, it's not compared to Las Vegas. Las Vegas a bit more powerful, but we've got Aurelian versus Gil in towards the final corner as well. I wonder if Cameron Dowds will be looking on the moves a little bit more. Nobody's allowing him to pull away. We've got 2 people that come into the pits. That is our top 2. That is Aurelian and Cameron Dowds is in. Wiener is in. Tom is in. Pretty much a lot of these drivers are coming in, apart from the ones that have pitted early, so we'll keep an eye on those to see how long they could take. And don't forget, some of them will need to stop again. So Yossi is your net race leader, but those tyres won't last that long unless we get like a VSC or a safety car. Yellow flag right on cue. We could get one. Marlon is out of this race and has binned it. Now where has he binned it? That's from the ultimate corner. Oh, he's retired on track. He has retired on track, or it might have been just in the pit lane. But yeah, that is him out of the race, and that is his troubles over, unfortunately. But yeah, I think most people did retire from the pit lane, to be fair. I think all 4 drivers, so shame for that. But that means we're down to 16. So no safety car, but that does leave Gil and Tim to be thinking, right, should I wait for a safety car and maybe risk it for a set of softs? Or will I have to try and play it safe and go onto a set of mediums? Usually I like to take gambles, but sometimes me taking gambles just does not work in the best of times.
Well, I did notice on this particular lap, at the start of lap 16, Gill actually had a massive lockup and went massively deep into turn number one. That's why Tim is so close to the back of the Ferrari. Tim was not this close, but Gill lost a couple of seconds, I think, in turn number one there. Really had a massive lockup and went massively deep, and it just lost so much time. But now into the pit lane for these final two drivers. Don't think either of them are going on to softs. It's not worth the gamble, and the pace loss would just be so immense. So both drivers onto the soft, so it leaves Markados, the only driver kind of in this top pack who's on the hard tires. I mean, it could be very interesting to see how it comes out. You know, these mediums, they'll fall off, you know, quicker than those hards, but the disadvantage of that is your tires, they're not as fast overall, and they're not going to get to the end of the race because you've already been on them for 10 laps.
Yep, that is a good point, Byron, as well. You know, they have lasted quite long, and they have been pushing as well to get through into this front pack. So if I were them, I would have been saving at this point, because if you wouldn't be saving at this point, then that's where your tyres are really going to start to lose a bit of temperature, lose a bit of grip. 12, 13 laps was predicted time when people would have gone into the pits from the mediums to a different tyre. So after 13 laps, they're going to struggle. And that's where Markados is really going to shine. You could already see the optimum pace really shining for Markados as he heads towards his back straight. So we'll see what he can do. They're the last two. Well, they're the top two that have done pit stops. But with Yossi, they make another pit stop. Markados will potentially stay out for the rest of this race, as Markados comfortably and breezes past Yossi to the race lead.
Absolutely, but running a little bit wide there through the final corner, it does leave Yossi very close behind. The pace on these mediums will still be good enough, so Markados is susceptible into this turn number one for a bit of a dive, but Yossi thinking the better of it, but very close indeed as Aurelian there with a fastest lap of the race, a 1:28.922, so a very good lap time there. You know, we still got a lot to go in this race, a lot of distance to cover. We still got 11 laps to go, but anything could happen. And the likes of Aurelian with that fastest lap, those tyres have only just been fitted, so that is probably going to send quite a bit of fear into the likes of Yossi and Markados, who are trying to get to the end of this race, but they're probably not going to manage it, and they're probably not going to manage it in a good position
Yossi!
because the pace of the drivers behind.
Yossi trying to go for the move. Sorry to cut you off there. And Yossi's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm on the mediums. I know I'm on older, less durable tyres. I'm going to try and get past you anyway. And that's probably due to Markados' mistake going into the first sector. Meanwhile, Morborak is having a battle with Tim, who's on the fresher rubber. Gil has managed to get past Morborak. Gil doing a splendid job, but he's been caught up with the likes of Tom Volakonga. Tom Volakonga undercut them in the pit lane. Gil did not have the best of pit stops, whereas Cameron Dowd did. Aurelian is pretty much what has happened to the likes of Cameron Dowd and Gil in the pit stops, because Rena's also gained quite a bit in the pit stops as well. Aurelian has pulled off a great gap, and he's not that far behind Markados as well. So Aurelian could be challenging for this race lead, and I'm a bit surprised about this order as well. So maybe some people are struggling to get those tyres up to temperature as quickly as they can. I know Gil is setting fastest laps, but Aurelian is the one taking advantage, and with James Head saying, oh, he could win this race, he's looking like the favourite so far. But don't count out Cameron Dowd, maybe don't count out Markados, but look at the rate that Aurelian's catching up to Markados right now.
Absolutely. I mean, Aurelian gained 1.8 seconds in the last lap, and he's already gained nearly a second on this lap. In fact, he's gained over a second now. He's already within a second as we head down onto the straight. But look at his battery. He's on 0%. He has burned everything in his battery, and he's not quite caught up to this top pack just yet. So it's going to be a little more difficult now in these next couple of corners to see if he can get into the DRS range, because he's not got the battery to burn. He's not got that extra pace to deploy when he might want it. He does just about get into DRS for this long back straight. But really, Aurelian is going to be sending fear into the eyes of the drivers in front, because Markados and Yossi know they will have no response. They will not be able to hold off Aurelian here in the Red Bull, because this pace on these fresh tyres is just too much as they go side by side again and once again, change places, but they know it is all in vain because this battle for the lead is surely about to be dominated by one driver, and that is Aurelian, as Yossi comes into the pit lane off those mediums and onto a fresh set of tyres that will likely be a set of softs. In fact, it will be a set of softs for Yossi, and Aurelian is nearly almost pushing Markados through the corners here, and a very nice overtake there through that section. Markados has undoubtedly let Aurelian through, knowing there is no defense that can be, there is no Sergio Perez defense that can keep Aurelian behind, and it is no wonder these fresh tyres are coming alive and nearly already a second ahead of Aurelian. That is a brilliant thing from Aurelian there to be ahead and really show an amazing amount of pace as Markados actually goes for a re-overtake, which I didn't expect to see, but
then
Aurelian
he went too deep. I think Aurelian went too deep there, but Aurelian takes the lead away from Markados there. So, I mean, it was a bit kind of get loose, to put it lightly, between these two. But Aurelian, look at the rate that Aurelian's pulling away now as well. Cameron Dowd's going to try and do the same thing. He's got to get the move if he wants to challenge Aurelian for this race victory. Aurelian looking to get his first win this season. Cameron Dowd looking to score 3 wins, which no one has done in this tier for a long time, as he breezes past Markados up into second place. Wiener has got that penalty. He's going to try and do the same thing. So maybe the strategy that James was saying to Markados in chat was bold. I think I have to agree with you, Byron. It wasn't the right one, because he's literally being passed by everybody left, right and centre. The only way he'll probably be back in this race is that there's a safety car and he goes on to a set of softs. But it's a bit unfortunate he's dropping down, which means he's going to lose out points to Aurelian in the championship, which means that Aurelian could potentially, if he plays his cards right, if he gets a good result next week, he could win the title.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really interesting to see the pace drop-off of these halves. It's only been within the last couple of laps that we've really been able to see just how much Markados is struggling as Gil gets past now, so that's another place loss. That takes you from, 12 points to 10 points, then to 8, then to 6. And by the time you're kind of on the fringes of the point, it's worthless. You've done all this fighting, you've done all this battling, and you've come home with a wooden spoon. You've got nothing out of it, and it's going to be gut-wrenching for Markados to think, I've gone for something different, I've gambled, I've really tried everything I could have on a different strategy to try and get the best out of this race, to try and give myself the best chance of fighting for this championship against Aurelian. But it's come to nothing. It's really hampered me because this strategy hasn't worked. 2 overtakes in one corner, and that's Markados down to 7th now. So now the fringes of the points, we're getting towards the point of, what was this strategy? What was I thinking? Because you've lost so much pace, so much performance, and now you're really beginning to question, was it even worth the gamble? Should I have gone on a generic strategy and just decided not to try my luck? Well, that question will certainly be thinking long into the night for Markados, I think, but the fight out in front still very good, even though Wiener does have a 3-second time penalty, which won't help matters. But this battle between Cameron Dowds and Aurelian still rages on. And remember, these points between the two, they will be important because they're both in the championship hunt. So any advantage is a big advantage.
Yeah, they've got to make sure they think on their feet a little bit, as Volagongan and Markados going side by side in the background as well. And Volagongan again getting past him, so Markados could lose out on even more points. Even Cazidlo and Stefano could potentially get past. He's the only one that stayed out in this front lot. Keke in your own hands as well. I can't imagine what their tyres are going to be like. I think they could get punches, and to make his day even worse for Markados, he's got a 3-second time penalty. Let's watch Gil at the moment. He's got great straight line speed heading towards his back straight. He's going to try and get past Wiener, but Wiener covers off to the left-hand side of Aurelian and Cameron Dowds. They're not going to fight this one, and Wiener stays ahead just for the time being. I wonder if Gil's going to play the long game and maybe go for it towards the end. No, but he's not. He's going to think about it. Heading towards turn number 1. He knows he hasn't got that much battery left. Oh, there was slight banging wheels between the two of them. That's unsettled the car between Gil and Wiener. Tim is in this as well, and Gil's lost 2 places because of it. He tries to go around the outside of the both of them, but He's lost, I think, to Wiener and to Tim. Tim's got past. He's like, you know what? I got pole. I'm trying to find my way back in this race. Don't count Tim out, but they're losing so much time to the top two ahead. I think this is going to come down to Aurelian and Cameron Dowds. Guys, just stop squabbling. You're going to lose time. Just work together to close up to the top two. Don't fight each other.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what Tim's trying to do now. He's just got past Wiener and is probably thinking, I don't care about the guys behind. I care about what's in front of me. I want to try get up to this top two, and is really putting in the performance here. Has about 50% battery to use as well, so quite a bit of extra pace to deploy and use through these final few laps, and just about manages to get into the DRS of those cars in front. I'm not actually sure if he's actually just about managed. I don't think he has. He just lost a bit through that previous corner, and hasn't quite got the DRS. He is within a second now. That's crucial because Tom and Wiener behind, and Gil, by the way, has lost a few places.
Tom
back
come
behind
from?
Marco. Tom has come from absolutely nowhere, but is now fighting up and now into fourth. I mean, I remember racing against this guy and thinking, hey, he's all right, but I didn't think he was ever PSF1 good, but clearly he is now because he is setting blistering times, and just, this is exactly what you want to see. You know, he's blitzing it now. He's got fresh tires. He's going for it, and he's getting a good result so far. Fourth would be a big haul of points for him. He's not had a great season so far, so this would be quite a good result for him. Mobarak here with another fastest lap, but on those soft tires and out of the points. Marcados 7th, still there, but Gil, I think, has lost, you know, quite a few places and really had a terrible end to the race, you know, given they were fighting up for, you know, potentially the win, and Gil's now all the way down in 8th place, back behind Marcados, who, as we know, is really struggling on those 17-lap hard tyres. What's going to happen in these final few laps? It is really anyone's game because you've got Tim, Aurelian, and Cameron Dowds fighting for this win.
And if Tom can make his move and try and close in on this front three, maybe Tom could be in there as well, but he just can't afford to fight. Tim was like, you know what, I don't want to fight either, and this is exactly what he's up to. As Cameron Dowds gets past Aurelian into the race lead, and I wonder if that's going to be DRS chicken once again, as Aurelian is just going to be patient towards the last few laps of the race. Cameron Dowds must know what Aurelian is thinking, and vice versa. You've got to do the opposite, otherwise you're not going to be able to win this race. Aurelian is still right behind, so is Tim. Tom, just look at that time he's losing just by fighting the likes of Wiener and Volakongan. He just got to try and close in. You can't afford to have people just trying to get past you all the time. Just work together to try and close in on this front three, otherwise you're going to struggle. Wiener's got that penalty, so is Marcados. He's up to 7th. Gil's dropped down to 8th. He has had a horrific second half to this stint, which probably means he's probably done the same to what we saw Tim at the opening stint. Very good at the start of his stint, but towards the end, he's definitely struggling. By the way, Keke has gone on to the set of soft, so is Louis Valentin. They've had the race to forget, unfortunately, but maybe they can improve ready for next week at Silverstone. But let us know in the chat, who do you think is going to win this one? Someone's asking in the chat if James's power is back on. The answer to that is no. So, it was meant to be fixed now, but it doesn't look like it's fixed, which is a shame. It's going to little down the inside of Ryan, up into 11th place, and 1 place shy at the points. Oh, wow! Ryan with the dive bomb, and he gets past Kazil out to 11th, so Kazil struggled a bit there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these drivers, I think, are struggling more towards the end of the street as Yossi gets past Gil there and up into 8th place. I mean, Gil has really been struggling. I wonder if there's some sort of damage to the car of Gil, because this pace hasn't been there. He was fighting at one point for the top spot in this live stream, you know, and for the top spot and potentially the race win, but it's fallen apart for a driver who was really up there. And I think there's got to be some sort of damage to this car, whether it be a small bit of front wing, rear wing, underfloor. There's got to be some level of damage, because it is just, there's no pace.
Gil
lost it there. Jeez, that is quite the tank slapper there. Very lucky to have held that. That was a brilliant hold through there. But so much to kind of unpack, because now the battle for the lead, by the way, is now as far down as P7, which is Markados, who's still on those 19-lap old hard compound tyres, and he somehow seems to be keeping on the pace of the drivers in front.
I wonder, Byron, is the medium starting to wear off? We know that the hards can last 21 laps. Do you think Markados has saved a little bit, letting the drivers through and then starting to push right here and right now? This could be a tactic to work in his favour, but if he gets past these guys, he's got to clear 3 seconds, which is going to be difficult. So I think if I was betting my money, it will be on the top 4. But Bola Congo will be on for a good result if he tries to close in on these guys. So Tom is definitely doing the right thing, trying to close in on these top 3. He probably's got the stream on, to be honest with you, as we start lap 27 of 29 right now. Cameron Dow still leads Aurelian in second. Tim in third. Tim has not won a race in PSGL F1. Neither has Aurelian this season. But Cameron Dow is looking to close his way up into the championship. He's 4th for the moment. And he could, I think, close within 2 points of Aurelian by the end of this. I don't know exactly what the gap will be, but you will find out next week once the standings are up. As we head towards another left-hander once again, that's going to be the back GRS straight for the third to last time in this race. Cameron Dow is pulling away ever so slightly. And this could be a chance for Tim to play some mind games on Aurelian now and maybe steal Aurelian's day. And he's got the DRS, so has Aurelian. No, they both shut the door there. They just got to think strategically on these final few laps. If these 3 keep squabbling, Tom could win this race for all we know.
Absolutely. I mean, I noticed that Markados, by the way, has another 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure whether he's on 6 or 9 seconds. Oh, he's only on 3. I swear he had a penalty already, but I'm not quite sure what's happened. But he still has the 3-second time penalty to contend with. That's not great in this race, and certainly not going to help him in his chance of being on this train. But he has fallen off the back of this train, and now Yossi is gaining ever so slightly. So we could see Markados as far down as 8th possibly here, but which would be quite the fall from grace from where he was earlier on in this race. But the battle for the top spot continues to rage on all the way down to 6th now, as obviously Markados having fallen off. But really, any of these 6 drivers could win. I mean, Tom, certainly a good person to bet on. He's not got a huge amount to lose, but there again, neither has Tim. But Aurelian and Cameron Dowd, do not count them out. They are very proven quantities. They know exactly what they're doing. They've won races in the past. They know how to race strategically, and they're certainly going to be putting all of their bets on for a race win tonight. They're certainly not far away. Someone says, what a strategy from Markados. That was so smart. I'm going to disagree on that. I think probably Markados had...
I think it was if he didn't get a penalty, but I think he's starting to lose. He was in this train, but I think he lost a bit of ground now after getting that penalty, which is a bit of a shame there.
Yeah, I don't think he was really at any point massively in the fight for the win after going on to those hards. We knew how much of a gamble it was going to be. Stefano there with a 3-second time penalty, another one to add to your penalty list for this race, up to 6 drivers strong, so not a huge amount of drivers getting penalties, but certainly the drivers getting a little more desperate in the latter stage of this race, as they want to try and make those all-important late lunges, those late overtakes, but they do result in more penalties and more possible warnings, as well as Gil is down to 10th now, really about to fall out of the points. Gil there, out of the points, now in 11th. That is such a fall from grace. Was fighting at the very top for this race win just about 5 laps ago. But on the final lap of this race, I've only just realised it's the final lap of this race. Aurelian is very close to the back of Cameron Dowd, but you've got to think about the long back straight. You don't want to make an overtake here, because you know that if you do, you're going to fall susceptible to those behind when you come down to the final straight. So Aurelian keeping behind, thinking about the long game, thinking about the overtake for the win, pretty much getting pushed through the corners. All of these drivers, your top 5 now, fighting hammer and tong. Who will win this race? It could be any of them, but Aurelian in fine form, in a good place to possibly take a bit of wheel spin on the exit, 4 attempts behind. DRS is going to go wide open, burn all of the battery you can, because this is the final lap. This is your final chance. It's the
Here he
last
goes.
chance. Can Aurelian down, round the outside, very cleanly done. Ahead, but down the inside goes Cameron Downs. Who's going to take it here? The switch back there. For Aurelian, can Red Bull take it or will Sister Team AlphaTauri up to the line now? And it's side by side. It's a photo finish, but Aurelian takes the win by just 37 thousandths of a second. Tim there, only 2 attempts behind those for the podium. Volakongen in 4th, Wiener 5th, Yossi in 6th. 7th there goes to Tom Markados in 8th. Gil there gets promoted tonight thanks to penalties for others, and then Stefano rounds out the top 10, and that, whew, take a breather, because what a photo finish that was.
That was insane.
I mean, it's very rare you get margins that fine, but Aurelian holding that around the outside, that requires some massive balls to do. That is, I mean, you are talking about Red Bull after all, the team that are known for just going for it and not holding back, and just, whew, that was really ballsy, and that switchback was done to perfection there. So brilliantly done. And Aurelian, first win of the season. James Head was right.
I was right.
His bet. No, Aurelian was James's bet for the win, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. And mine. I said Aurelian.
And I went with Tim, but I said it could be anyone. It was someone. Someone did win the race in the end. So I could say I was right, I'm sure, somewhere in some land. But Aurelian, what a race, what a finish, and what a haul of points. I mean, really, you know, we said about you don't have to win a race to win a championship, but it certainly helps, and Aurelian is certainly going to be in fine form and really going to be feeling the momentum going into Silverstone and the finale in Bahrain. It could be all up for grabs next week. You know, when you look at the likes of Markados, who had a real off week this week, you got to think, could Aurelian possibly take the championship next race? Well, after this race, it's certainly a lot more in the question.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's Redding's to lose. He's been top of the championship for a few weeks now. We did say that this could be the opportunity to get his first race win on PSF1. He's finally done it. So I wonder if he's got one hand on the trophy there. My camera skills, not the best tonight. I could sincerely apologise on that one. But we only finalised the comms lineup for PSF1 20 minutes before the stream. But photo finish, Aurelian and Cameron Dow's absolutely amazing between the top 2. Tim in 3rd, Volakongen 4th. We got Wiener, Yossi, Tom, Markados, Gil, and Stefano, your top 10. Kazidal, Mabak, Jeroen, Keke, Louis, Ryan, your top 16. And your DNFers are Marlon, Erpek, Rydell, and Stefano. James, I'm so sad that you missed this one, because it was a photo finish. And Aurelian has got his first win. Maybe you should miss races more often, James.
James, if he ends up watching this back after the event, he's going to be so
joking.
sad that he missed it. Yeah, he's going to be so sad. You've like just ruined his day when he watches this back and sees the amazing race that we've just had. But I mean, whew, you just can't process this sort of race. It's so difficult for all of these drivers, and as I've just realised that I've been on cams the entire time just showing them my hand for about the last 20 seconds because I've been looking in the Discord, seeing what they're saying. Aurelian, though, he seems so happy in the Discord. He's just ecstatic and over the moon about that, and no surprise why.
I think we've got some interviews to give as well. I believe we've got Cameron Dow's waiting in the rating room. If I find the right Discord, because I've got loads of Discords open.
I've dragged him.
Oh, you dragged him. Perfect. So we got the man who just missed out. doubt on the race victory, but definitely gave us a valiant fight. Cameron Dowles, can you hear us?
Yep.
What a great race from you. Missed out on P1, but it was a great fight at the end between yourself on the way. And how did that race go from your perspective?
Yeah, qualifying was decent. I think there might have been another 10th, maybe 10th and a half. But as long as you're in the top 5, it's not really that big of a deal where you start. But yeah, the race was good. It was a good fight with Ori Ellen all race long. And then, yeah, I think I had decent pace. And then it was just, I didn't really have the ERS at the end there. It was quite difficult because I know the ones behind me had like 60 or 70. So it was quite difficult to try and stay ahead in the last lap. But yeah, I thought I like sent it back on Aurelian on the last corner, and I thought I might have been able to keep it, but then he ended up switchbacking me, which is a bit frustrating. Especially he's like the main person I need to beat right now if I want to win the championship. So it's a bit frustrating to come second to him because it's like championships falling away a bit, but there's still hope. There's 3 races left, I guess.
But more importantly, you have gained on your other championship rivals as well, and you still got a few more races to do it, so it is possible as well. Were you hoping that there could have been some rain potentially in there, or were you relieved that it was a dry session?
I would have liked rain in the race personally. I think that would have made it a bit funner, and usually there's a bit more field spread with the rain as well, so it makes it a bit easier for the drivers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, well,
Sorry.
no. I mean, obviously, this is kind of my first proper like dive into PSF1. But when I saw you going for second, sorry, yeah, I did race earlier on in the season. You know, it's one of these. It's always a difficult track. I mean, you know, it's one that you've not had as long to play, as long to experience, because it's only been in since F1 2022. You know, how kind of difficult is it to go to a track that you don't have as much experience on? You know, you think of Bahrain, you've raced that for years and years. You know, how much more difficult is it?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely takes a bit of a decline on your confidence, like especially when you're just going around the track, like tracks like, you know, Silverstone and Bahrain, as you said, I have a lot of confidence on those tracks, but I think it's not too bad, but I think there's a bit less confidence when you're at a track that you've not done as much, but it's all right.
I mean, you certainly showed your pace and how well you did today. I mean, no one's going to be doubting, you know, that you're still not in the hunt for the championship. You know, you still got 2 rounds to go. You're still close in terms of points. You know, how are you feeling towards the end of the season? You know, you said that it's a bit of a knock to your confidence, you know, having lost and falling behind, but are you still confident you can bring it back and try and take the title, or are you kind of trying to limit your expectations and think, you know, I could be the runner-up here, but, you know, kind of more trying to be realistic as opposed to thinking I can do it?
No, you can't think like that. You don't want to think that you're going to come second. I always like to think I can come first, so that's the mentality I'm going to have going into the last races, no matter what track it is. Yeah, still try and win.
Well, fighting words there, and I'm sure. Well, I think I'll probably be back next week to see kind of your fighting words and how you respond, because you know you came second, but I think you'll probably be looking for that bit more next week, and I'm sure me, everyone else, and just kind of, well, everyone's going to be wanting to see how you respond. But a very good podium nonetheless, and you're still very much in the hunt, so it'll be very nice to see what you can do next week.
Yep, thank you.
And I think we've got Aurelian in the interview room coming up as well, speaking to us. So we will drag him in. Oh, thank you, Brian, for doing that for me. And it's the man who's got his long-awaited PSF1 win. He just missed out last week, but he's finally got it this week. Aurelian, can you hear us?
Hello, everyone.
Well, I saw your reaction in the Discord channel of you finally getting that race win, but tell us to the viewers at home, how does it feel to finally get your first one under your belt?
I wait this one for a very long time. Honestly, I'm really happy. I missed so many occasions in the past, and today was the day. So yeah, it feels really crazy, especially after with a finish like this. The fun fact is that with Cameron yesterday we did a practice race, and the ending of this race was exactly the same, except that I was the car leading on the last straight. But it was a side-by-side finish, and it was crazy again.
That was so
And
tight. Very tight towards the end as well. I could see the tactics you were playing towards the end of this race as well. Was it the plan to be behind Cameron in the final laps, or did you want to be ahead in the final laps?
yeah, it was definitely the plan to be behind like 5 or 6 laps before. To reach up a bit my ERS, because like at the middle of the race with Marcados I was able to create a 1 or 2 second gap, so to break the DRS, so I tried to burn everything and I had to reach up after. So I decided to slow down the pace a bit to let Cameron pass, but not Tim also, and it worked perfectly.
And I have to say, James couldn't be here tonight, but he was the one who predicted you to get the win, and you got the win there. So you can
Thank you, James.
Yeah, you can thank James for that one. Hopefully you'll be back. Be back next week. I'm absolutely gutted he's missed your victory. I'm gonna be gloating like no tomorrow to him until that as well. But yeah, I mean, Miami, was it generally a good track for you anyway coming into this?
The first lap of practice was not that good, but at the yeah, because it's really hard track, but with practice the pace came, so yeah, it's good.
Brilliant. We got the final two rounds of the season. You're leading the championship. Don't ask me what the gap is, because I have no clue as well. You got your first potential chance to do it next week in Silverstone. Do you want to win it next week, or don't you care when you win it, as long as you win it?
Silverstone is my best track, so
I remember.
I love that track, so I hope I can take the win again.
Yeah, and would it be amazing that you would win your first PSGL F1 title in Silverstone, which will be great to see as well. So yeah,
it would be perfect.
That would be awesome. But you got 2 chances, so if you mess up next week, you still got Bahrain. But Byron, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some fighting words in terms of Silverstone being your best track. You know, how you didn't have the best start to the season, but you had a few results that might not have been the best, but your consistency has been really high. How much of a confidence boost is it to finally get that first win towards the end of the season when you know you're already out in front?
Yeah, it's true that like when I took the lead in the championship, everyone was saying, yeah, you didn't win a race, like a bit, what are you doing here? So it feels yeah, really great to finally take the win, and if I if at the end I can take the title, it won't be without a win, so it's
at least you got the win now, so you could say that you won the title with the win if you do that.
I hope.
Well, I'm going to have to do permutations. I won't be here next week, but I'm going to have to do permutations anyway, just to make life easier for whoever joins James in the commentary box. But well done. You could go and best celebrate. Best of luck for the final 2 races this season. And we will see if you could do it at Silverstone. And if not, try and maybe take the fight to... I'm trying to remember all the last races. Bahrain. There we go. But Aurelian, Yeah. Aurelian, the first win for him. Massive congratulations. It was a close one, but well done.
Thank you.
Right then, so that is it then, I believe, from our podiums. I don't think we have our third place man in the commentary box, in the rating room. So we'll have a quick
Good
run.
evening.
Pardon?
No, sorry, I just say good evening.
Oh yeah, good evening, we'll see you soon. Sorry about that. We'll just quickly look through the calendar once more. So we just have Miami, we've got Silverstone on January the 22nd, and then we got Bahrain to kick off the final round of the championship. We only got a few people left in this. Pet didn't score many points in this week, Byron. I think if he messes up next week, his chance is pretty much gone, if not gone already.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult when you have to take a week out, whether it be for just you're not feeling well or just you're not able to make it. We all have commitments we have to uphold, and unfortunately, sometimes it will hold you back. And I think, if you're looking at the likes of Pet, who isn't able to race, it's a bit difficult because you're trying to think, was that my chance at the championship that I lost?
Because we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, and this is the issue. Some of these drivers are really going to be thinking, did I lose the championship here because I wasn't quite able to make it?
Yeah, exactly. And 2 more rounds to go, 2 more chances where Aurelian could wrap it up next week. Make sure you stay tuned with James and to be confirmed commentator, because I won't be here. But before we go, make sure you check out our socials at Premier Sim GL on Twitter and Instagram. I'm sure Byron will be very happy with me saying that because it's his baby now. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Discord as well. Check out our socials down below on the camera screens. I'm JessGames95, and Byron, socials if you please for yourself.
Byron Hale TW on Twitter, and then Byron Hale IG on Instagram, because I'm just, slick like that and have the platform names in for no reason whatsoever.
It's
but
fine.
It does look nice and clean. It's nice and clean, to be fair.
Exactly.
Very nice. And if you're my other baby, just follow PSGL socials. That's where I live, pretty much. But yeah, 2 rounds to go. Britain and Bahrain then. 2 circuits I like very much. 2 circuits everyone likes very much. And it's a nice end to the season. 2 rounds left. You're really getting into grind time if you're one of the drivers here. But we're very much nearly at the end of the season. Anything can happen. I mean, I really want to be here next week. I want to see just those fighting words from... oh god, it's bad that I've forgotten his name just after I've said that he's got fighting words.
Aurelian and Cameron Dowes.
Both of them fighting words, both of them wanting to fight for this championship. I want to see who comes out on top. Will it be next week? Will it be in Bahrain? Will it be in the sand dunes? Who knows? We've got to wait until next week to find out. We'll be back here next Monday for PSF1.
And of course, we've got the PC tiers on Thursday for the lower tiers, but we got Wednesday PCF1 with George Morgan and Dan Field around Silverstone. So it's not a mystery chat, it's around Silverstone, 7 o'clock UK time. Make sure you check it out. It's been a very great championship so far, so I'm excited to see that one. The PC lower tiers, like I said, on Thursday. Then back with us on Monday, 7 PM and 8 PM. F2 and F4 on at 7, F1, F3, F5 on at 8. So for myself and Byron, thanks for watching. Hopefully James has got his power back by next week. I believe his power is still gone, or he's fallen asleep. One of the two. Maybe even both. I don't know. But have a good evening. See you next week. Well, James will see you next week. And we'll leave you with our title sponsor one more time. Take care. Bye-bye.
goes through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.